So before I worked with Mayan, I struggled a lot with self confidence, with ease, with over analyzing the past and my past decisions. And I had a lot of victim stories that I was creating myself. I was creating situations in life that allowed me to be the victim. So it wasn't even just being a victim to life, it was creating victim situations for myself in life. I also had a lot of worry and anxiety, and I was living inauthentically. And one of my bigger ish challenges that I came to Mayan for was the fact that I felt like I had been settling or not achieving the romantic relationships that I wanted to be in. I wasn't recognizing relationships that weren't working. I wasn't seeing the red flags, and I was allowing myself to uh, stay in relationships for longer than I knew were healthy for me or for my partner. And so I wanted to make a change in my life, specifically in that area. As a result of going through this process with Mayan, I was able to release the subconscious desire that I had to be the white knight always, to save people from friendships to specifically romantic relationships again. I always wanted to save somebody. And I was able to recognize that as I found myself interested in women after this process, I would recognize some of those red flags and recognize how in the past my old self would have been excited to hear all of those things and be like, "Oh, I get to save you," and and through this process, I was able to not. It wasn't even a conscious thought when I was meeting these new women. It was subconsciously. I was like, "Oh, there's we're in two different places in our life, and I don't think that we're a match right now because of the difference in the places that we are." I was also able to just be more authentic in myself and feel at ease in that authenticity and see how people were responding in a positive way and even in a more positive way than they had previously when I was just relaxed in being who I am. So now that I've gone through this process, I'm able to no longer overanalyze my past decisions, and even more importantly, not overanalyze my current decisions in the moment and obsess over situations in my life that I can't control. I am able to easily and effortlessly release them and allow them just to be what they are. I've found myself with a great amount of ease as well, reaching out to women that I'm incredibly attracted to and building bonds with them and not having anxiety over the conversations with them or getting nervous about the fact that I'm going to have a conversation with somebody that I'm very attracted to. I just allow the conversation to flow and see where it goes. And I don't go into the conversation with an agenda of where I want it to end. I'm now also able to recognize when I start to go down that white knight savior role that I had been going down in the past, and recognize that it is not healthy or supportive for me in the long run. Um, I feel I feel just relaxed and at ease and just kind of like a cool guy now. um, I always used to say that I felt like I was white knuckling my way through life, just like holding onto motorcycle handlebars, just trying to survive. Um, and now I feel that sense of calm and inner peace that I've been looking for. I also now just feel a freedom to be myself, to have fun, and be very playful in my energy. And I've created deeper connections in my friendships and found people in my life who are willing to stand up for me and be like accountability partners for me in my physical well-being as well as my mental and emotional well-being. I've been able to tap into both the divine healthy masculine and healthy feminine. I was invited to join a women's mastermind, and I feel myself very comfortable and at ease building these bonds with these women with no ulterior motive, and just having a fun time getting to experience the divine feminine and allowing them to bring that out in me, and find a supportive group of women in my life who want the best for me. I do feel like I've gotten to know myself better. I feel like even more than that, though, it's the self confidence and self worth that I've come to through this process, where I've always, whether I consciously or subconsciously knew it, I always kind of knew the values of the woman that I wanted to be with. And because of my self-worth and lack of confidence, my lack of self-worth and my lack of confidence, I was always more along the lines of starting relationships with women and, like I'd said before, ignoring the red flags because I would see that I know that we're not right for each other, but um, being excited that I was actually in a relationship and allowing myself to just um, be in a lower frequency relationship that wasn't right for me. And now I'm in that confident area where when I recognize that the values don't line up, that then becomes like a non-negotiable, and disqualifies disqualifies even seems like a harsh word, but I mean, it it makes it clear to me that I'm not going to pursue a relationship with that person because our values don't line up, rather than saying like, oh well, our values don't line up, but maybe we can still make it work. I'm still going to give it a shot because I made up my mind that I want to date this person. I'm not going to change my mind, whether it's because I'm so physically attracted to that person or because I've fallen in love with the potential of where they could be. I'm now at the place where I want to, and I know I will fall in love with the person that they are, and be excited for the unknown potential, but fall in love with who they are right now, not compromise on my values to get into a relationship, and then thrive from there. I 100% would recommend May, and she's amazing. And the way, like, this process is so different than every other personal development process that I've gone through, because I kept on telling Mayan that it's witchcraft, because even on our last call, she's talked about all the work that I've done and it hasn't felt like work. It felt like when we started this process, it was so easy to like change the subconscious conversations that I was having, and to go through and look at some like traumatic experiences and not have an emotional reaction to it. And then to see that the next time any situation like that popped up in my life, I didn't have to consciously react differently or think differently. It was almost not until my next call with Mayan that she asked me how it went, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that went like so different than it used to," and it feels like it's a cheat code. It's just like all the like we did this breakthrough session, and then all of a sudden like my subconscious mind just makes different decisions, and I didn't really have to do much other than like talk to Mayan a little bit. So like I would 100% recommend Mayan. The experience is easy, it's painless, it's fun. Mayan is incredibly supportive and loving, and it's just been a wonderful experience. This blank look on my face is me trying to figure out who I wouldn't recommend to work with Mayan right now. And it's hard to come up with anybody. I think that this work could really support pretty much anyone. I know for myself, I would say that going into this specifically in the personal development world, I was probably on the like higher performer end of the spectrum and had some of those extra mental roadblocks that I wasn't able to get past because I was left in this personal development purgatory that what I call it, where you've identified these problems, but you haven't been given steps um, or things to do that get you past them, and so you're left with these blocks. Some of them you know, and some of them I uncovered with Mayan that I wasn't even aware of. And so they helped me get past those not even last extra roadblocks. There's always going to be roadblocks, but some of the big roadblocks that I knew that were there that I hadn't been able to get past. But I also see great value for people who are just entering into the personal development world that have no idea what their blocks are. And I can see how going through this process would be incredibly supportive for somebody getting into personal development and having it turn into a lifestyle for them, because there's not a lot of crying, there's not a lot of screaming, there's not a lot of like dramatic moments that I've seen in other personal development programs that I know for a fact have scared some people off. And so this has been a great process for me as that high performer in personal development, and I think it would be great for everyone in between, down to the newbie who's just sitting there being like, something's wrong with my life and I don't know what it is. I would like somebody to help me figure it out. I don't know if I have anything else. I feel like I've said a lot. If I could do that bewitched thing with my nose, I would.